As always, I started this project by designing the house with Live Interior 3D software. The design is a process, and that can take some time because new ideas keep coming up all the time. But the basic interior has to be set out so that I know where I will need electricity. The two side walls had to be removable so that I could work inside and have a good view of everything. To make this stable, I used 4 magnets on each side, and fitting the walls into the building had to be precise because I did not want large visible gaps. As a base for all the walls, I used foam board, which I covered with very thin veneer. But, like in real-life construction, not all the walls have the same thickness. For the bay window, for instance, I had to use 4 layers of 1 centimeter foam board, and accommodating these different thicknesses was tricky in some places. The kitchen and home office wall was the first one I completed. I made a wooden door frame so that I could squeeze the hinges into it rather than gluing them on. And the door handle I made from an ear stud. For the shopping board, I used chalkboard paint, but forgot that I needed a left-handed person to write on it because I've already attached it to the outside wall. For this house, I wanted folding doors rather than sliding doors. The interesting question was how to hide the hinges that attach the panels to each other. The solution was using black electrical duct tape, which is strong and at the same time flexible. I then covered the tapes on each panel with black metallic sprayed styrene strips and drilled tiny holes into the perspex for the pins that keep the doors in the runners. When I started working on the kitchen, I noticed that I made a design mistake. I did not have enough space for the tumbler and the washing machine under the stairs, which are only 7 centimeters wide. The only way to solve this was by taking the outer wall further out. So I cut an opening into the outside wall, and that gave me another 1.5 centimeters. This design change was really a blessing, because now I had a black feature at the entrance, which looked as if it was planned. Last April in Chicago, I bought this absolutely stunning dishwasher from Mini Fanaberia. And of course, it deserves a special space in this kitchen. My big issue was how to bend these metal pieces for the kitchen surfaces. Dorota then pointed me to this great tool, and after wasting quite a bit of material, I was happy with the result. For the oven door, I used normal perspex, which I sprayed with a high gloss black. I have a bit of a tick with lamps, in mini and in real life. Because of the painting behind this table, I first made a very simple lamp, reflecting the light onto the table by mirroring it on top from above. But unfortunately this was not bright enough, and I changed it to a normal light pointing down onto the table and used this 3D printed lampshade. I have a real Lumio lamp that is foldable to a book in real life, and I thought I'd like one for the mini house as well. I use 3 tiny nano LEDs. It is not foldable, but then who cares? It looks great anyway. I made the staircase with prefab steps. Just had to adjust them to the width and height of the staircase. For the indirect light of the handrail, I used this LED strip facing downwards. But I was not happy with the light distribution and covered it with a strip of opaque perspex. This helped, but not enough. I subsequently learned that I should not have used a 12-volt transformer, but something smaller like 3 volt or 4.5 volt. I loved the design of this coat rack I found in the internet. Making it was easy, But then I obviously had to learn how to make shoes and clothes as well. Here you see why I love working with foam board. So easy to hide the wires. You just squeeze them into the board. For the spotlights, I used electrical cable clips which one can get at any do-it-yourself shop in various sizes. For most of my lights, I used the LED bulbs from Naladris in Holland. This might look a little messy, but it is not. It is just having lights installed that give an indirect glare onto the ceiling and down onto the basin in the bathroom. Aren't these neat? They're tiny earplugs from hearing aids. The idea of having an opening between the upper and the lower floor came only while I was building. The issue was that the side walls were made from very thin veneer, which I could not paint with a water-based color. The only solution was to paint styrene strips and then glue them onto the outer side walls. For the gutters, I used 12mm plastic binders I cut into halves. The downpipes are wood dowels, and to make them look realistic, I drilled openings into the ends. And this explains the electricity a bit better in this house. You can see that I used 3 different main lines. One is for the removable entrance wall, which has spotlights above the door. The other is for everything else in the house. And the third one is for the Christmas tree, which I want to be removable. If I had the staircase handrail with a lower voltage, there would even be a 4-socket with a different transformer. My friend Uzi has this set up on her narrow balcony, and I immediately thought this would be great for my house as well. The way this works is I buy the file on the internet, and then I send this on to my designer friend Vijay, who reduces it by 12. Then the file gets sent to Shapeway printers, and we make a test print. If this is okay, I polish and paint the product and add this to my Shapeway shops so that it is available for others who like this style in Mini. This is by no means a cheap exercise. But then, who cares? I mean, I build models, but I don't wear Prada, so that's okay. And I guess that everybody's workspace looks pretty much the same like this one. Up to a certain point, I can live with this mess. But for new ideas, I usually need an empty surface. The last step in making the video about the house. I published a basic description of this in my blog recently. First, I go out and take a background picture of where I think that this house should be. The best photo then is blown up to a poster size that is at least 60 centimeters high. Everything smaller means that the model has to be placed too close to the photo to look realistic. This time I was lucky. When I started taking shots, it started snowing outside as well. The foam board construction is so light that I could even take the model outside and take a few shots there. The time-consuming part then is to select the best shots and edit the video. Now there is simply no way one can keep a making-of video short. There's too much information that could be shared. Making this model house took me about 8 months because it is a hobby next to work. I loved every rainy weekend when I was not pulled out by the sunshine. Making model houses excites me again and again because I can use such a wide variety of skills, like using the architect's thinking and designing a house so that it would work in real life, or finding and testing the materials, or understanding the logic of electricity, working with different tools and actually making things, taking photos and making the videos, and making use of all the social media channels without overdoing it. With each project, I run into new problems, and I love finding solutions. Some things, like having faucets that look perfectly chrome-plated, are ongoing, and I still have not found a a solution to that one. One day I will. For me, it is important that I have the ongoing learning process. And I hope that this video explained enough and inspires you. And if you have questions about suppliers or whatever, feel free to contact me.